think that Karim Benzema is one of the great stories in the last 10, 15 years of football. With PSG, I think it's a slightly more concerning situation. The PSG model has been based around bringing in what used to be known as Galacticos. And what we've seen is, I think at least 4 times in recent history with PSG, they have suffered catastrophic collapses in matches. I think with Barcelona, we mustn't jump in too far here because, you know, Xavi is there, yes. He has worked wonders with a combination of really astute signings.
John, it's been a while since, Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi haven't been in this stage of the Champions League. Probably close to 2 decades.
I'm, as you might have gathered, from a slightly older generation where, I tend to emphasize and stress, the team aspect of sport, which is what I probably enjoy more than anything. But I'm not so much of a stick in the mud or a curmudgeon that I don't understand that now there is a genuine move towards, supporting these iconic players, building narratives around these iconic players and really following their fortunes as much as those of teams. So this was always going to happen because these guys can't go on forever. I mean, not everyone is able to just, keep on going. So as a result, this had to happen.
Karim Benzema has been playing second fiddle for a while at Real before this. And now he's now King Karim at the Bernabeu. What are your thoughts about his legacy and what makes him so important and so dangerous even now? Because he's not getting any younger either.
No, he's 34, I think 34 years young right now, but he seems to be getting better and better. I think that Karim Benzema is one of the great stories in the last 10, 15 years of football. And you have to split it into 2 things, because obviously there was the unfortunate situation scandal-wise that meant that his position in French national team football was compromised. And then there was the unsavory publicity that came with it and what have you. But whilst all that was going on, it's incredible to think that he has still made his way to become Real Madrid's all-time greatest assister. He's got the greatest number of assists for Real Madrid. That in that time, he has managed to pick up 4 Champions Leagues, four Champions Leagues. That in that time, he has managed to, I think once Ronaldo left the club, he's already scored like 200 plus goals or something like that. So to think that somebody has gone from being subordinate to one of the greatest players of all time, and certainly one of the biggest personalities, to now in his own right, almost single-handedly being capable to define the fortunes of Real Madrid. And we've seen him do it so many times. I mean, recently we've seen him score hat-tricks twice in really significant games. So I just think that because he is deliberately and consciously low profile because of all that has gone elsewhere, he hasn't been subject to the attention, which means that actually his achievements have all been just done by being brilliant at what he does at football. And I think in a way that's been overlooked. He is the most underrated striker and maybe even player of his generation.
Can't really not speak of Barcelona, can you? Transitional phase, as you said, and they've brought in Xavi. He's turned things around, and they're pretty much looking like the team to beat now. And they'll be back with a very young core, young set of players back in the Champions League next season. How excited are you about that prospect? Because Barcelona not being in the Champions League it's just a little odd.
It is a little bit odd. I mean, I mentioned earlier on 17 straight seasons of qualifying for the knockout round, but I think with Barcelona, we mustn't jump in too far here because, Xavi is there, yes. He has worked wonders with a combination of really astute signings. If you looked at the players that they were bringing in from players like Ferran Torres and Traore, you would not have said this is inevitably going to be a success. Everything that could work for them has worked for them. The financial dealing at a time when they are under the most severe of restrictions financially has paid off for them. But that doesn't mean that they're suddenly going to be good enough to play and compete in the latter stages of the Champions League. I think that the most important thing for them right now is to finish the La Liga season as strongly as they can. But even more of a priority is they have to compete and win the Europa League. I think that they are 3 years away maybe from being able to compete with the very best in Europe. I honestly do, because I think financially they are still going to be operating under really severe restrictions.
Recent years in European football, Man City, PSG, they've been under the scanner for their financial investments and the way they've built a team. Let's say they've built their team, their squad. But they've not been able, it's been a few years, and neither have they been able to get the Champions League title like they so badly want. What's going wrong? What do you think both sides could do? I know City are still in the competition and very much in with a chance this season.
Yeah.
But what's going wrong effectively for both?
Let's start with Manchester City. Their failure to win the Champions League has come down to a couple of fine margins. There is no pressure like the pressure a side is put under in the latter stages of the UEFA Champions League. They're up against the best in the world when they do so. You only have to have a bad day, a bad half maybe, and you're out. I would say City have failed to win it for just a couple of reasons that I would attribute to, maybe just playing a bad game of football or a bad half of football, or the coach maybe picking the wrong player. With PSG, I think it's a slightly more concerning situation. The PSG model has been based around bringing in what used to be known as Galacticos. And what we've seen is, I think at least 4 times in recent history with PSG, they have suffered catastrophic collapses in matches, whether it be the remontada by Barcelona, whether it be even Manchester United with Rashford scoring very late on in Paris. We've seen it in big games. And we've seen it, of course, as recently as this season. When something like that happens consistently, it's more than just a coincidence. And I think what that comes down to is this is a club and a first team that hasn't evolved organically as a group, enduring, suffering, fighting, developing a winning spirit. And what has happened is when this side is good, they are sensational, they are unstoppable. But when they come under a bit of pressure, because they're made up of individuals, they fragment. They don't have that core. They don't have that thing that enabled Real Madrid, for example, to go on and win Champions League after Champions League. They don't have that. They just fall apart. And I think that is what is structurally wrong with them. They needed to develop over the last few years a core of players who would see them through when the going gets tough. As Pep is fond of saying, when they suffer in a game, they don't suffer very well. And sometimes, as Mourinho would also say, you have to suffer to win something. And I think they haven't learned how to do that. Manchester City, I suspect, will be winning the Champions League quite soon. So I think that will be put behind them. PSG, I'm not so confident about.